All right, welcome to the subtraction thingy speed run. We're going to get right into it, break it down. Let's create the subtraction equation with all the terms and everything, so we don't need the kitty by kitty. We're going to work on the stage, all right? And we need to make our variables. So we need to make the minuend. We need to make the subtrahend. And we need to make the difference between the minuend and subtrahend. And we're just going to drag them out on the screen here. Okay. And then in our backdrop, we're just going to put in all the terms, then make sure they are lined up properly with the actual terms. And then we can double click and create the big digits once we know they're properly lined up. So after we get that complete, then we can start to build the actual equation. So what we want to do for that is we want to set these variables. So we want to set the variables, and we need a trigger. So when the go flag is clicked, we're going to set the different variables. So we want to set the minuend first, and then we're going to duplicate this, and we are going to set the subtrahend next. We're going to duplicate this, and we are going to set the difference. So currently it's all 0. When I click the start flag, it's all set to 0. So I'm going to go 5, 3, 2, just like a regular subtraction equation that I know how to do. And I click the go flag, and it is hard coded. So now we can look at the patterns and things that form in subtraction equations, and look at patterns on number lines, and look at differences between the minuend and subtrahend. All right. Now, after we get that done, we need to get a little bit closer to the actual representation that we want. So we want actually to pick random numbers. So what we're going to do is pick random numbers. But first off, before we do that, we need to actually see, hey, can we get this to calculate properly? So what we need to do is get the subtraction operator. Okay. And we're going to use the actual variables, and so we're going to pop the minuend in there, and we're going to pop the difference, or not the difference, right, the subtrahend. And now we can click the go flag, and it'll calculate it for us. But right now, currently, it's going to be 2. So if we hard code again, and we put in different values, and then we click the go flag, it'll calculate it for us. So in kind of simplifying the process here, we don't have to actually even calculate the actual difference anymore. We can let Scratch do it. So we're getting close to the actual solution. So now to finalize this and kind of come up with our algorithmic solution, what we need to do is get the app to calculate using random numbers. So we put our random numbers in, and we're going to duplicate this. We want to go from 0 to 12 for our basic facts. Okay. And what you're going to notice now is when we click and we generate, uh-oh, look at that, we've got a negative integer. Well, we just want this to be positive integers. So we have to create a recursive loop that is going to check to see if the number is going to be positive or negative. And recursive loops are fun little loops that we can generate using a broadcast or a custom block. We're going to use a broadcast. And what we're going to do is broadcast check sub. So we're going to check the subtraction. Oops. Okay, and so when I receive check sub, I'm going to set my minuend and subtrahend, but before I set the difference, I want to check to see if it's negative. If it's going to be a negative difference, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to check sub all over again until I get a positive difference. So to do that, I need a conditional. So I have to go to my control variables and get the if conditional. And then we need an operator, which is if the minuend is greater than the subtrahend, or you can do whatever operator one that you want. But if the minuend is greater than the subtrahend, it's going to result in a negative difference. So if that occurs, then we want to broadcast check sub again. So if it's negative, it's going to go back and run this again and again and again until it gets a positive difference. After it gets a positive difference, then we can set the check of the difference to the minuend subtract subtrahend, so we get the proper positive difference. And that is the subtraction thingy. Thanks for watching.